I went to the doctor early this week and talked to this resident, really, really sweet lady, but it got me to thinking, and I have been thinking about this for some time, but it really kind of drove the point home. She was talking to me about my A1C and that, making changes was so important for my health, and that, if I continue on this kind of spectrum that I'm on, that I can expect to be a diabetic and to be taking medication for the rest of my life. And that's not what I want. And I immediately, over a few days started to think about being a diabetic and watching people that are diabetics and the issues that they have. Typically, you see a progression of diabetes over some time. You see a patient that has CKD, chronic kidney disease, and then if they've had trouble with their heart, some type of heart failure. And none of this is fun, right? From the beginning of having diabetes, if you're not able to get your glucose or your A1C under control, then you typically will go from, diet control, exercise, to insulin, where you're having to stick yourself. And then as a diabetic, typically you stick your finger on a regular basis, a few times a day, to check your blood sugar. And none of this is pleasing to me. None of this is appetizing. None of this is anything that I would ever want to do for myself. However, I noticed that when I went to the doctor maybe 6 months ago, they told me, not these exact words, but very, very similar. And I did not make any changes. As a matter of fact, I kind of regressed. I was worse this time than I was before. I noticed that I'm eating more sugar, and all the things that I don't want to be doing, right? And I'm not working out like I should. And so it got me to thinking about, if we want to, for example, lose weight, why is it that we continue to, I'm talking to myself, put poison in our bodies? Like, for example, for me, I'm eating candy every day, and it's really a stress response. It's really a feeling of, I'm going to say, emptiness inside. And there's a lot of different variables that happens. And I am totally aware that God is the only one that can feel this emptiness. And then I noticed that I'm eating more than I had been ever. And it really got me to thinking about, why is it that we say we want a thing, but we don't do the work? How is it that we have this goal, this monetary goal that we want for ourselves, or whatever it looks like for you, having a successful business, losing the weight, more income, better job, whatever it is for you, better relationships, but we don't take the necessary action. And I'm not saying, because I get it, people will say to me, well, I don't know what to do. And I always think, well, if you knew what to do, what would you do? If you were to tell, because we are expert advice givers, right? We can tell people all day long what they can do to fix their own lives. But we hardly consider taking our own advice. We don't think about, if we just did the things, we don't have to learn anything new. If we just did the things that we already know to do, how much better our lives will be. And so this got me thinking about, I've had this financial goal, substantial goal that I would like to meet. However, I have not consistently taken the steps that I need to take. And it's all about believing in myself and facing the fear. That's it. I don't need to learn anything else. I do, perhaps. But if I just took the things that I already know to do and implement those things, I am sure that I can surpass the goal that I've set for myself. And so the same thing with the weight loss and becoming a diabetic or reducing my A1C. It's the exact same thing. It's the having self-control, knowing that if I eat the candy, what does it do for me? What does the candy represent? What does the taste represent? How long does that feeling escape, whatever it is, the taste do for me? Same thing with cheesecake. What does the cheesecake represent? What does it do for me? How does it help me? And then I think about all the ways that it hurts me. You know, it puts more weight on me, it increases my A1C. It could make me feel sluggish. It adds the pounds. It reduces the effect of me going to the gym. It could potentially be killing myself, right? Putting this poison in my body. And two, sugar is so addictive. For me, I noticed that if I eat one piece of candy, I can turn around in 10 minutes or 20 minutes, half an hour, and I've eaten 10 pieces of candy. And it's because the sugar is so addictive. Same thing with sodas, It's if you ever stop drinking caffeine, you will have this residual effect. You will have this side effects. For me, I have headaches while I'm, coming down off of the caffeine, so. But my question is, why is it that we don't do the things that we know that we need to do? And two, I think about if I was going to tell somebody that I truly loved how to stop something, or how they could help themselves, or how they can improve their lives, am I taking my own advice? And to me, diabetes is so serious. And so if we know better, why don't we do better? And I'm telling you this because for me, this is a reminder, a daily awareness that we don't do the things that we should do to reach our goals, to change our lives, to improve our health when we know better. And so I work where I am around, I see people that are sick. And so it makes me think about when you're able to see people around you that are sick, and they have trouble with however you want to describe it, the high cost of healthcare, the experience of dealing with a healthcare on a regular basis, the having people that have to help you, support you, take care of you, help you make decisions, help you pay for all the things. It makes me think about, if we can see this coming for ourselves, if we can see the detrimental effects, the amputations of the limbs, the amputation of all the different amputations that a person who is diabetic experiences, why would we want to do that to ourselves? Like, if we can pump the brakes on it, right? We can stop it. We can bring it to a screeching halt. We can make the changes that are necessary. And it's a small price to pay, right? If you can do it now, whether it's, figuring out what it is that the food represents, whether it's journaling when you have a desire to eat something that's, that you shouldn't be eating, whether it's digging deeper to figure out, what's going on underneath, all the things, just trying to get your life in order so that you have some self-control, that you can express yourself instead of suppressing the emotions, which we, eat away, all the things, right? And so it just makes me think about, when we know better, why don't we do better? If we know that these things will bring us harm, eating the wrong things, eating food in excess, laying around when we should be up doing things, up moving around, why don't we do it? If we know that in order to increase our income, we have to do whatever it is, increase our skills, talk to people, build relationships, but we don't do it year after year after year. We know better, but we don't do better. And so it makes me think about what is happening behind the scenes. Like, do we really want what we say we want? And then what has to happen before we'll make the changes, before we'll do what we need to do? What needs to change in our lives? What needs to change? And it's really a hard conversation to just have with yourself about, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm committed to doing every single day. This is the change that I need to make. This is my system, my metrics. This is what I'm going to measure every single day to see, am I doing the things that I need to do? Am I writing down the steps that will create a plan or a checklist? These are the things that I have to do every single day to move forward. This is what I'm going to do instead of eating the candy or the sweets or the bread or the fried food. I'm going to substitute it for this. Yeah, I can have a cheat day if that's what I want, but these other 6 days, what do I have to do? And so some time back, I heard someone say that every 2 weeks we can change our appetite. So in other words, if I can go 2 weeks and eat things that are good for me, that are healthy for me, that are better for me, things that I like, how much different will my life be in a year if I just make the change that I need to make? And so just food for thought today, to be thinking about, how can you change your life? How can you stop talking about what you're going to do and do it? How can you take control of your life? How can you figure out the things that you're doing, the harmful things that you're doing to yourself? And this is really for me, right? But I hope it can help somebody else. How can you stop doing things that are not good for you, that's not good for your health, that's not good for your life, that's not good for your future, that's not good for your family, that's not good for your life, it's not good for your career? How can you stop doing those things and do the things that you know you need to do? And what is standing in, but what's in the middle? What's standing between you and where you want to be? Is it confidence? Is it skill? Is it all making better choices? Is it figuring out something else that's better to put it in its place? Is it taking total responsibility and stop blaming other people? Is it changing your environment? Because I realize that environment matters, right? If you got a house full of cookies and chips and candy, that's what you're gonna want to eat, right? If you're hanging around people who that's all they do is eat the wrong things, then you just got to make some decisions, and you got to figure out what it is, the changes that you need to make. But I know that if we make the changes, we can see a better future. And I think sometimes it's good to just kind of step back and see, okay, I've done it this way all this time and it has not worked. What if I try something different? What if I do things the right way? What if I do things that I know will be better for me? How different my life will be. And it's not about seeing it in a year or 3 years or 5 years. It's great to see it, right? Because in 5 years or 10 years, I still want to be, I don't want to be a diabetic. But if I just take one day at a time and I just say, okay, today I'm going to eat this. Today I'm going to replace these things with this. Today I'm going to make sure that there's no candy, there's no sweets, there's no bread, there's no, all the things in front of me or in my home or around me. Today if I just prepare ahead of time and I say, okay, when I want this, I'll eat this instead, or whatever it is, to replace, to put in place of the things that I would normally eat. And I want you to consider for yourself what it is that you need to do to get from where you are to where you want to be. What changes do you need to make? How can you help yourself? And then two, if you decide that you just don't want to make the changes, just think about how your future is going to be if you're still not where you want to be financially in 10 years. If you're still in the same place 10 years from now, and we'll all be 10 years older, if you're still eating the same things, how much different your life will be. Because if you just think about it, if you're gaining 1 pound a year, in 10 years that's 10 pounds, and most of us can't afford to gain more weight as we get older, and it's harder to lose weight. But what changes do you need to make? If you stay the same, are you going to be happy with your life in 10 years? And then what do you have to do? What are some things that you can do to develop better habits so that you can do the things you need to do on a consistent basis? So just something to be thinking about today as you go about your day. Just think about a goal that you've had for some time and you haven't been able to accomplish it. Looking at the payoff, if you're actually able to accomplish it, what does it really look like for you, getting a vivid picture? And then also, what would it look like if things stayed the same or they were worse if you didn't make the changes? And so I think it's important to realize that if we don't make the changes, things are going to be worse. They're not going to be, they might stay the same or they might be worse. And so most of us don't want that, right? Most of us that want to see progress, want to be successful, to do the things that we want to be able to do. And so when I think about health, the most important thing for me is to be mobile, making my own decisions, taking care of myself, and being well, not having all the aches and pains. And I know some of it comes with age, but anything that I can help myself to do to be better, to be in better health, that's what I want to do. So just something to be thinking about today as you go about your day, the changes, what changes do you need to make? And are you in the same position that you were in a 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially as it relates to health and wealth and relationships? What changes can you make? How can you improve? How can you make things better?